when we haven't finished with the determination of the matters in court.
I see. Thank you.
Can I come in 1 second?
So that I have Mr. Lento have a take on this. Yes, quickly.
Yeah, let's correct Apia Kubi. Honorable, what I said was that I'm mad that Ofori had a hand in this case.
I didn't
and it was never highlighted.
Please.
Do you see that Ofori paid for the buses about 2 years later?
Did you hear me mention Ofori?
Alone be held. The payer.
I was talking about the lawyers, not Ofori. I haven't mentioned Ofori, please.
No, I'm the one saying, that's the one I'm saying. I'm sad that the lawyers.
That's where he associated the sadness, not what the lawyers
I had a critique of the lawyers. And I'm saying that at the time, if the lawyers didn't even find it,
yes.
And now they have found it, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, for us to be able to determine whether it was wrongly appreciated or otherwise, let the judicial system give us that.
Abusia lawyer and the appear, name so no and a chama Wontumi lawyer, I would muamano na wahwe intercede on behalf of Akontamines said the bay betimia boa na Samra boy mind case as he said the ababeda court no wahwe to charge na no dan chance or Exim Bank for loan who send bia ababeda just say bukata bia kwaso no na etwitwa ede aje chairman Wontumi na ene okopie mu TV3 ene wo mko bonko mobile na eno na lawyer Martin Kpebu o mo frɛ no e wo Zoom e ma ne ba so bi na nkomotwetwe no a ena e course na lawyer Martin Kpebu e make some wild allegations bi a wo kyerɛ sɛ wo hwɛ sɛ de sɛ a o matimi extradite Sedinam Tamakulo kane no ono na yesi wo de ma maslog no ono mo kyerɛ sɛ Ofori Atta ene MPP amonyokuo kyerɛ sɛ ensem basa bi ena ekokoso a ya ono mo kyerɛ sɛ enam so ema sese de Sedinam watimi abepie mu Ghana nenso lawyer and the appear kyerɛ mu sɛ da bi da enye no kore ema ne de fact and figures ebe kyerɛ sɛ da bi nsem Martin Kpebu ka no enye saa ena etie.
Now the NDC in its manifesto, 2024 manifesto, I think under chapter 6, made a promise of good governance and to fight corruption. And in that, the lead, a flagship initiative or flagship promise of oral was given. And oral is all-encompassing. Oral says what? There's an operation to recover all loots.
Yes.
That loots, there was no caveat, there was no definition, there was no limitation of what loots they wanted. So all loots. And so there is that expectation that when the NDC comes to power, they will actually live to that promise that they made to Ghanaian people on the basis of which they voted for them. But you see, when it came, what happened?
What happened with respect to this particular one? Because I started by questioning what you mentioned.
I will answer that. Yes. The issue cannot be segregated. It's a question of promise that was made to fight corruption. And this is a corruption matter, isn't it? So, but the NDC came to office, and what they have done from day one is to shield their people. I'm coming. Yes, I'll get to that. Your intro earlier talked about the efforts that are being made about filing appeal and all the things that have started already. Right?
Yes.
And so it's indicative of a certain effort to shield people who are NDC people and to persecute other people. Now, you agree, when they came in, perhaps you remember, but I think you disagree. When you promise to fight oral, and you come into office and there are cases of corruption that are being litigated in the courts, what you do is to continue that, to demonstrate confidence in the promise you have made. And that's why I was careful to say to you that people vote based on promises. And Prof has found that indeed it is the case that people vote based on promises in Ghana. So when people have voted that you're going to do oral and you come, and your first order of business is to clear your people, it sets a question mark. And in this particular case, so the nolle prosequi that was issued in about 7 cases, and out of those 7 cases, about 4 of those cases, including the Opuni case, the state had closed its case. And it's just a question of just pursuing and seeing that at least there was not much work needed to be done, at least in those 4 cases. The state ought to simply, I'm coming to that.
Right.
We need to establish a certain pattern of behavior
I'm
so that we
looking at
don't
the
jump to this and then look as if we're just talking about one instance. It is a connected series of events which shows a certain selective application in the fight against corruption.
I'm looking at the time.
Although it's fine. I mean, if all I can say is, if all I can say is to establish a trend for you, if I come again, I'll continue. But it is important to establish that trend so that they are shielding their people. And that weaves into this. You know, the co-accused person in this Madame Sedinam Tamaklos case, that person applied for bail and has been granted bail and is sitting at home. You remember Atta in the banking sector issue,
yes,
jailed under MPP. That guy has been bailed. He's sitting somewhere.
But
now the connection. Just wait. Let me establish the connection.
When you are bringing these things, then you get me to ask questions.
No problem. But I'm saying that
with respect to the Atuasian case, you are bringing so many other things.
You don't have
which
to ask
actually
me
doesn't reflect the Atuasian case.
Because this is not an isolated case. I'm establishing a pattern of behavior that goes against why people voted for the NDC to fight corruption. Now they have come. People in their corner, they are shielding those from corruption.
You wanted
her
back in Ghana. She's back in
No,
Ghana.
you are not following.
Then what was the issue regarding her return and why you think she's being shielded? I want to understand that.
The point is that, and I made a point to you that we started a process to bring her back. The NDC didn't bring her back. So they are not even interested in prosecuting or seeing her to,
but the current Attorney General was quite clear that he had initiated the process of her extradition as well.
I just challenge you, maybe you can call him, to show us evidence of letters that he has written to that effect. The process to bring her back was started under the New Patriotic Party. That's one is factual. If you tell us, you should give us contrary evidence. Now, the reason I am going through this to establish a pattern for you is that the NDC is not interested in fighting corruption. Which then draws me to this, and I just told you the co-accused person in this very case that Sedinam has been brought back for has been granted bail when he should be in jail. The person is in at home. And so when you see what is happening in Sedinam's case, the application for appeal and all of that, when you have been convicted in 2024 and you are aware of it, you didn't come to this country voluntarily. You were having to have been extradited by force to come back. And then suddenly when you showed up, as if you just discovered that you've been convicted in absentia and you're applying for appeal. And of course, there is evidence suggesting that even before she came to Ghana, through her lawyer, she made move to file this appeal. Before she came to Ghana, when she was still a fugitive from justice, she was sitting in America and starting the process of appeal. So what you are seeing here is that an NDC government that is not interested, okay, in fighting corruption. And in this particular case, since you want to talk about this, is that it's not going from what we are seeing and the pattern that I've established to you, protecting NDC people and persecuting political opponents. This matter here is going to just be one of those things they'll be tossing and going up and down, and she will just be let off the hook. And now the danger, Alfred, in that is that it breaks confidence in the system. It undermines the NDC's own promise to fight corruption, which is why I premised for you that people voted for a reason. And so when you say you are going to recover all loots, and there are loots to be recovered, and you are selecting which loots to recover and to pursue, you are clearing the balance of them, okay? And then you are investing in all sorts of maneuvers to make sure your people don't answer for their crime. You are weakening confidence in the ballot. And you know, Alfred, the ballot is an instrument of hope. That people vote because based on those promises, they think that the promises that have been made to them today will improve their lives tomorrow. And so they vote. Now, if by virtue of that confidence, people have voted, and then you have come and you are abusing that to shield your people, to protect corruption in the case of your people, and are persecuting people.
You know that upon her return, she's in custody as we speak. You know that?
Yes, I know.
I see.
Yeah, but that doesn't answer any question. I have just told you that a fugitive from justice, refused to come, sitting somewhere, applying for an appeal, and has shown up. And what we are hearing is that she's going to give an appeal, and which is the reason I established this for you, that the co-accused
person... Which is well within her right.
But I'm saying that she should, within her right to the extent that she's run away from accountability. If she wanted to exercise that right, she should have stayed here for the trial.
Okay.
But she left. And the point I'm telling you, Alfred, let this not be lost on your viewers, to say that it is important to establish a pattern of behavior. And the pattern of behavior we have seen for the NDC is that in the fight against corruption, their objective is to shield their people, protect corruption in the case of NDC people, and persecute their political opponents. And I've shown you that in the case of the nollie prosequis that were issued, in the case of Madame Sedinam Tamaklo's co-accused person who has been let off the hook on bail that is sitting at home, and she herself, who has come now, sorry?
If the person has been granted bail, doesn't amount to being left off the hook, and I'm sure you know this.
But
essentially,
but I'm saying that it's a it's a process.
The bill is not.
But it's not here. So
hold on.
So
I'm not arguing with you. I'm only saying to you that the bill doesn't amount to an acquittal and discharge. They're two different things.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all.
You've been left off the hook.
I'm not saying that. But the point is that the person is supposed to be in jail. Okay, he's supposed to be in jail. The person is convicted, supposed to be in jail, is given bail, is sitting at home. And you yourself, in the context of this conversation, that's why context is very important. Since the NDC came, people who have not been charged, people who have not been convicted, have been locked away on some unreasonable bail conditions. And they are as though convicted because they can't meet those very high bail conditions.
Okay.
So that two standard that you're seeing, that for some people who are not even charged or accused or convicted of any crime, they are thrown in jail or in prison for simply not meeting bail conditions. But people who are convicted are given very lenient bail conditions and they are sitting at home. And those people are NDC people. So you see categories of two people. One, very extreme bail conditions, forced to stay locked up because they cannot meet those difficult bail or high bail conditions. But people who are convicted and supposed to be serving their sentences are given bail conditions lenient enough that instead of serving their sentences, they are sitting at home pending their appeal. I think that's the same thing that's going to happen.
You already you're predicting what the possible outcome
is there,
will be, which you've established
that's
the
why
pattern.
I've established the pattern for you, that this will not be any different. It will be the same.
You say there's no confidence that anything will come out
Absolutely.
of this. This is what,
but see, there's a danger that all of us must be careful and pursue this and ensure that if it doesn't happen in this case, then really there's no confidence in the system.
Okay,
at all.
There are a number of things that you have brought into your submission, trying to separate the issues so that we deal with it one after the other. But let me bring Lamartin Kpebu, and I'll come to you, Coordinator Tamaklo. Lamartin Kpebu on this. This is one that, when it happened on Tuesday, many, including yourself, who indicated that if the NDC was seeking to bring back an Ofori Atta, there had to be also Sedinam Tamaklo coming back. Richard Ahiagba says it has happened, but there's no confidence that really this has done anything to the fight against corruption and aura, because he can foresee what would be the possible outcome of Sedinam Tamaklo. What's your take on this?
Oh, okay. So my first take is that I thought Ahiagba would have started on the note that MPP as a party, they are massing up courage, okay, to be able to ask Ofori Atta to calm down, because as a corporate entity, MPP as a party, I'm sure it's not lost on them that if they really want to come back to govern this country again, then they have to, issue a statement asking Ofori Atta to come. And the way they've been deterring and not showing that clarity of thought, they should know that it means that they are dampening and eroding their own chances, because something as simple as saying Ofori Atta calm down, they are not able to do, and they are waxing lyrical. As I just heard Ahiagba talking, I was like, Ahiagba is the wrong person to say the things he's saying. You see, he's the wrong person to say those things he's saying. He's the wrong messenger. the first thing should have started was that MPP will ask Ofori Atta to come, and it must be now. So the more they delay on this, then the more it justifies why we booted them out in the manner we did. I mean, look at this. Sedinam is a convicted felon, right? And as you rightly stated, we asked that she be brought down. She's been brought down is good, but to spend all the time on Sedinam when all the efforts right now should be on Ofori Atta, beggars believe. Look, Mr. Okansi, it will never be wiped out that, look, Sedinam, the facts, yes, she may get bail, because right now, let's even come to this very salient part that I blame some people for not putting out early. Do you see that Ofori Atta was the one who came to pay for the buses in 2018? Have you seen the appeal they filed? Have you seen it?
The appeal, yes.
Yeah, that Ofori Atta, when he became finance minister, came to pay for the buses in 2018. So then the question is, the time we charged Sedinam, why didn't we charge Ofori Atta? I was like, so what happened? Was there a cover-up? ADG is there. Maybe you can ask ADG to give us more on that side of the facts. So since I saw that part of it, I was like, oh, no wonder Sedinam didn't want to come down, because there's that angle. But they failed to, beat this in the media, let's be clear. So me, since I saw that part that Ofori Atta played, that when he came into office, he didn't audit what Sedinam had ordered, but went ahead to pay, my thoughts on the case have changed. I'm going 180 degrees. So now I'm keeping a very open mind. It means that it's just that Sedinam and her legal team didn't do the right thing by digesting the facts well. We often have volumes of material to digest before coming for this program. So sometimes certain things would escape us. But I'm telling you, Ms. Okansi, this morning that Ofori Atta has surfaced again in the Sedinam case. That not even in 2017, where you say, because he just took office, maybe he hadn't had time to settle. In 2018, he paid for the buses Sedinam had ordered. Why? And Ofori Atta is working, and then you see how it brings in my beef with Kisi Ejabin. That this is another case Ofori Atta would have been answering for, but for Kisi Ejabin allowing Ofori Atta to flee from this country, right? So, Mr. Okansi, yes, if Sedinam applies for bail and then she gets it, of course, it will not be lost on anybody that Ghanaians would not let that go lightly. We will berate this in the judicial system. But that's how it is. Because that's a way of also holding the judicial system accountable. But that doesn't mean she shouldn't get bail. Yes, if there are medical conditions, etc., she will get bail. But we should all remember that Ghanaians don't easily forget. No. Ghanaians don't forget. They will take the justice system on. And in that manner, that's giving the justice system feedback. So in that manner, the system becomes stronger. So we think about ways to make the justice system better, ways of improving prison conditions, etc. Today, the FPP people will complain about Sedinam likely to get bail. But they've forgotten that when Kofi Juma was taken in, Kofi Juma, former MD of GEHOG, he spent most of the time in Kpebu. He wasn't in custody. He spent most of the time in Kpebu that he's sick. So if today Sedinam has come in a wheelchair and may not spend much time in Sawam, etc., the point I'm making is that, so it tells you that we have to improve the prison system, the custodies in our police station, etc. That's the actual message. Yes, that's the other side of it. So
right. You talk about the fact that citizens will be watching how this Sedinam Tamaklo case plays out, and how it plays out will determine how citizens react, right? What exactly would make citizens then begin to question the justice system, depending on how things play out regarding this Sedinam Tamaklo case, now that she has returned?
Yes, so what's going to happen is that, as I'm beginning to understand, the judgment will come up for greater scrutiny, and it looks like, yes, the Sedinam has a case. It's beginning to look like that. So you know that it will start with a lot of cynicism. People will say it's a cooked deal, etc. It's okay because when I say it's okay, it means that let citizens express their opinions. So what it does is that it informs the justice system to also look and see that next time, what can the justice system do better? Because now with Ofori Atta looming large in this Sedinam judgment, having paid for buses up to almost 2 years into office, when Sedinam wasn't in office, etc., then we'll be asking ourselves that, so where was the justice system itself looking when Sedinam was charged without Ofori Atta being charged, etc.? So it's good. And even the citizens already reacting, I have gone ahead of the justice system. It means that they are telling the justice system that we are not taking this from you. We are not taking this from you. Next time, be up and doing. Because if you take Sedinam on, you leave out Ofori Atta, that's not justice. That's one section of our citizens. The other section of our citizens too will say that because Sedinam's party is in office, right, they are in government, things are being made easy for her. We can't run away from it. It's not only in Ghana. In many jurisdictions where I follow especially UK politics and the US, it happens. It happens. Look at the US, the Epstein files. The lady who, one of the victims, sought to, testify in a way that would favor Donald Trump. Quickly, when Attorney General Bondi was the lady, the Attorney General who just left office, quickly they moved her from the high security prison and gave her better prison conditions because she was going to testify in a way that will help President Donald Trump. Right. I'm not saying it's correct. So what I'm saying is that so elsewhere, the same thing we are doing in Ghana, people are doing in the US and the UK, where citizens are holding the justice system to account that, look, this is not proper justice. It is a sort of celebrity soft justice. Okay. And these things have been there decades. So the feedback helps to make our society better. So it's okay. It's welcome. Sedinam will get the bail, and then citizens who will continue making noise. And then the justice system will also learn from it. That, listen, when one party is in office, they will never stay forever. They would leave. And so if you're taking a decision today and you don't look beyond 8 years, tomorrow the justice system will come for a lot of blame. And so we will be wiser. That's how we are building a democracy. So let all the shades of opinion be heard. Because right. You see, me personally, because I hadn't understood, before I saw the Ofori Atta angle, I started saying that personally, Sedinam should not be given a presidential pardon until she's done about 4 years. So it was after the interview, then I started seeing the judgment and the angles about Ofori Atta paying for buses long after Sedinam had left. Then I said, oh, wow, wait a minute. How did we not bring this up? Why did we not start advocating about this side, etc.? So sometimes we make some positions out of ignorance, etc. It happens. But like many former leaders have said, it's better to make ignorant noises than to have a culture of silence, right? But the good thing is that when we realize our mistakes, then we correct them. So me, on Sedinam now, I'm open-minded and more interested in the Ofori Atta angle. That's the part I want to see how the part of our people.
Right. And you talk about what her legal counsel could have done at the time. And in fact, it is one of the issues captured in this particular challenge that her legal counsel is already filing regarding her conviction. One, that the charge sheet, which formed the basis of her conviction, was defective because of these developments that you have just referenced as well. And then also, and Lawyer Digital, I'll come to you on this. And two, none of the witnesses called helped prove the charge of stealing. And the prosecution failed to prove that she appropriated or misappropriated any monies for that matter. But Andy Apiakupi is joined us. He's the man of the moment for this week. He is the lawyer for Chairman Wontumi, and a number of things happening around him. Andy Apiakupi is former MP for Asante Achim North. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Running away, fugitive from defending Wontumi.
Right. Whatever you think.
Andy.
You are entitled to your opinion.
Andy.
Yes. But again,
We'll make sure you defend him.
yes.
Get your legal fees now. Let me defend him, please.
Country Ghana is growing. Country Ghana is growing. And I want us also to support the growth of our institutions.
Okay.
And indeed, I get worried when people import politics into all facets of human national life. I get worried. Particularly, I heard somebody say that Ofori Dami was prosecuting somebody. No, it was the office of the Attorney General doing the prosecution. Whoever was there, it does not matter. And now the office is that which is doing prosecutions. So government is in a continuum. So let's look at national matters like that. One other thing that I wanted to comment on was allegations of corruption. Let us try to separate the acts that are tagged corruption and those that are tagged stealing. We cannot interweave the two and just get confused as to what charges we are preparing. Again, now bail.
Hold on to that point. Hold on to that bail point. And let me bring in.
You were only doing preliminary
on this.
Yes.
Sorry.
So I have
no. I know where you are going with this. On this. They are already.
To ensure that
the expectation is that this is just
slave trade
you
ended
win
long
the rest.
ago.
Nothing's going to come out of this. That's what the MPP is saying. At least Richard Hiagba said this morning that when it comes to this particular matter, he can foresee where it's going to end, and it is not going to do any good to the fight against corruption, even though Sedinam has been extradited to Ghana.
Yeah.
That demand that was made as well.
So once again, much earlier I didn't find Prof and your good self here. So good morning to you. You know, ordinarily I didn't want to partake in this conversation for
true.
obvious personal reasons. But I felt that it's important for the sake of public education and informing the public adequately that some matters are put in proper perspective. I've always maintained that part of the politics of the MPP is anchored on the philosophy of demonizing your opponents. And so one of the ways of doing that demonization, and because we run a competitive electoral process, the whole idea is that as many of your opponents that you demonize, it gives you that leverage, as it were, to be able to be more competitive as far as electorates are concerned. And so if you look right from independence, either UP, Matimehu, or whatever, their politics have always been anchored on demonization.
No, is it
please, Senior, calm down. Senior, calm down. No, Senior, you calm down. You have the benefit of coming up. And so one of the things that they have done over the period is either make reference about Nkrumah. So if you look, immediately after the coup, they set up different commissions of inquiries. And the very work of the commissions of inquiry is to make adverse findings of corruption and misdeed against Osajifo from Anisia Gay commissions of inquiry, among others. Fast forward to our democratic settings. If you recall, immediately the NPP came to power, one of the things they did was to set up the National Reconciliation Commission. The thinking at that time was that the National Reconciliation Commission was going to help reconcile a people broken, a people that have suffered. What we didn't know, that whole commission of inquiry was to target J. Rawlings and a few of his associates. And if you look at the proceedings of the National Reconciliation, and thankfully it was televised, everything was choreographed to demonize the J. Rawlings administration. Then came the issues of prosecution. 1993, the Criminal Offences Act was amended to include causing financial loss to the state. That law was never used.
It was never meant to be.
In fact, it was never used until President Kufuor became president. and the weaponization of Section 179A started. For the entire 8 years rule of President Kufuor, not one MPP official was found to have caused financial loss to the state. But the verdict is with the people of this country.
Right.
But every known associate of Jerry Rawlings, including his chief of staff at that time, were all prosecuted one way or the other for causing financial loss to the state. It was never lost to the NDC. And so, fundamentally, the MPP appreciate that prosecution is a veritable way of demonizing your opponent. In fact, if you read the quality grain decision, Justice Dixon Kwame Afre struggled to even find the basis to convict them. And so he started his judgment by saying that, look, there's news in the report, newspaper report, that these individuals are being prosecuted for stealing and corruption. I want to put on record that they are not being prosecuted for stealing or corruption, but it's a new offense called causing financial loss to the state. Before he started the analysis of his judgment, the reason why I'm bringing this antecedent is to let you know that all you need is for a political party to weaponize prosecution for its own political ends.
So what?
Now I'm bringing now to the steady thing. When MPP came to power, Mr. Yao Osafumafo Honorable decided to set up a special so-called forensic audit committee at the office of the president, annex, just behind here. And now what did he do? Pick specific audit agencies, including Bafwe and Associates, a known MPP audit agency. It's not in doubt. To proceed to audit the work of Maslock. That whole undertaking was for a purpose. To at all costs find wrongdoing against Sedinam. Now you say, what is even curious? And like Martin pointed out, if you look at that whole trial, it was a charade. The whole trial was anchored on the so-called audit conducted by Bafwe and Associates.
No, if you say the whole trial was a charade, was there no basis for it?
I'm coming.
Or the outcome of that particular audit?
Please, I'm coming. If you look at the entire, and I always say, you see, when you do an audit and you don't even invite the person you are auditing to even make an input and all of those, cross-examination is what will expose you.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Cross-examination itself is what will expose you.
The must also be
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So first of all, this was a special audit. And one of the things that was done was even to audit SNITs. Thankfully, Mr. Ernest Thompson and co. challenged that audit finding. I want to just read part of the cross-examination that took place, just for you to appreciate the basis of that, you know. This is what happened under cross-examination, and you can see it at page 64 of the record of volume 5 of the record of proceedings. I just want to read. It said, the officers you interviewed from Maslock, from the head office, no one indicated that there was no sensitization. Is that correct? Answer. That is not correct. Question. The officers who wrote statements indicating that they were sent to cash checks and handed over the monies to A1 did not indicate that there was no sensitization. Is that right? Answer. That is correct. Meanwhile, the whole basis of that trial was that monies were spent and there was no sensitization. Mm-hmm. You get her prosecuted, causing financial loss, no commitment to the state, whatever. She committed the state to undertakings. However, like Martin pointed out, the payment for those buses were done in 2018 by Mr. Ofori after a rigorous investigation. So you have put out there for your party communicator to say that the price of the buses were inflated.
Okay. Have we paid?
If the buses were inflated, what would be the basis for Mr. Ofori to make the payment? Why would he pay for buses whose prices were inflated when you have the opportunity to rescind the contract?
For damn politics.
You know, so if you pick the entirety of that whole case, it was the usual MPP politics. Look, I've always maintained. This morning, my brother made mention of Opuni's matter. See, the Opuni's matter remains one of the biggest blots as far as criminal justice is concerned in this republic. I am even surprised that you have the courage to even make reference to the Opuni matter. See, Yoko had investigated Opuni. Yoko found no basis for prosecution. Osafo went for the docket from Yoko and said he never understood why the police did not, Yoko did not find basis to prosecute. And now took the very docket that Yoko investigated and took those dockets to the CID to reinvestigate the entire thing. On the basis of the CID investigation, Opuni was then prosecuted. Now, guess what happened? The miracle. After my Lord Justice Onyenuga heard all the prosecution witnesses, something interesting happened. Lawyers for Opuni, through the prosecution witnesses, tendered in 14 pieces of documentary evidence.
Right.
The judge asked the prosecution witness and the prosecutors, the attorneys, do you have any objection to the tendering of these 14 pieces of document through your prosecution witnesses? The record bears it out. No, they said no objection. So then you see his record. This document is admitted without no objection. Now guess what? Based on the admission of those 14 pieces of document, lawyers for Opuni then said, look, you know what? There is no basis for this trial to continue. Do you know the miracle the judge performed?
Round up on that.
I will
Because
round
want
up. Yes.
Bring in this issue.
Do you know the miracle the judge performed? Once he went home to write his own ruling on the submission of no case, the judge now said, this document that were admitted without no objection, I am raising the objection alone and rejecting those pieces. Having so rejected those documents, he now proceeded to say he has a case to answer. Where in this world can that happen? Where in this world?
To the extent
So
that
you have all
are involved in
these
this
dubious
case.
records, and you have the courage this morning to even come and talk about this matter.
But you
See, listen.
Did you
No,
have to?
Alfred, I beg you. Alfred, let me, Alfred, I beg you.
On that round up on that point.
I want to just round
No,
up.
I want to give him some of my time. You should continue.
Prof, what are you doing?
Okay, that's fine.
Please,
That's all
let me just conclude on this. You see, this morning I listened to my brother Richard Ahiagba's prelim, and he went to town. And you try controlling the process. See, we happen to be
The
cancelled
same
for.
thing he is doing now.
We happen to be
The
cancelled.
same thing he is doing now. So continue with your
Please.
intervention.
Bail
And
conditions.
let us not digress from the subject matter.
See, the 12 years plus of my practice has all been dedicated to criminal practice and a bit of civil practice. And so one of the things I have always done is to advocate for the right of accused persons and suspects.
Of course.
And I have consistently done that. On bail, I'm surprised today bail has become an issue. You know Dr. Kwabena Dufo? Do you know him?
Yes.
In fact, Bamia is because of Dufo. His first appointment within the public service of Ghana was when Dr. Dufo was deputy governor in charge of administration and HR. Yeah. He took him into Bank of Ghana around 96 or so. That is the foundation of who today he is, for whatever is worth. Dr. Dufo was prosecuted under the MPP. We appeared in court for him and asked the court for bail for Dufo. Look at Dufo. deputy governor, governor, finance minister, owns several businesses in this country. A man of that stature. The judge admitted him, in fact, to bail at 100 million Ghana cedis to be justified in this country. I was there. I was lawyer that day.
And there's a practice you oppose. So,
wait, I beg you. Upon all prayers, the bail was reduced from 100 million to 65 million Ghana cedis. Before. No self-recognizance. Does it not work enough for Ghana? Almost 80-something-year-old man. We imposed a bail of 65 million Ghana cedis on him at the time when the so-called apostles of the rule of law were in power. Is it the case of amnesia or loss of memory? So, look, you see, I have always opposed the idea. Please, senior, I beg you.
This language. No.
You see, my point is that I have always opposed stringent bail condition because they come across as always punishing the person ahead of even the trial. Yes, that's my personal view about this matter.
Right.
Especially so when you know the person, investigators know the person among others. Look, there's a young NDC guy who the police declared wanted. So when they declared him wanted, I spoke to the family that, please, no. Come along with him. Let's go to the police. So I called my senior Sosu, and he got me a lawyer, director legal. And we took the young man to the police just behind, the Dampari had this police office behind the Electoral Commission.
Okay.
Just here, just at the back here. Look, I thought by sending the guy there, it would be enough basis for him to be granted bail. You know what happened? When we went to court, the judge says no bail. She was going to do the case daily. Eventually, I went to the High Court and got bail. Do you know that this young man was eventually convicted? It was a daily trial. I remember there was a day the guy came to court. Sosu was then representing him because I was engaged in other businesses. So I asked my senior Sosu, then one day Sosu, because of parliamentary duties, he couldn't go to court. You know what the judge said? The judge said, if your lawyer is not here, proceed with the cross-examination yourself. These are things that have happened. They are not good enough. But I don't expect this level of pontification to become it. So I strongly believe that this whole extradition, thankfully, yes, it's true. When Richard says it commenced under the administration, that's a fact. What I also know, and there are letters to that effect, is that when Dr. Ayene even came, he followed up on those with written correspondences with the Americans. In fact, for this particular movement to Ghana, as late as Tuesday, the state Ghana had to pay for her airfare. The state Ghana sent Yoko officials to US to bring her. And so they claim that the government knows nothing about it. It's far from the truth. In fact, government of Ghana pressurized the Americans to bring her. That is what the rule of law entails. That's what the rule of law entails. So for whatever is worth, let's all maintain it is the rule of law that got her convicted. Let's see what the outcome. But in one breath, you are happy that the rule of law got her convicted. But you are sad that the rule of law got somebody bail. Okay. Which of the rule of law do you believe in?
Let me acknowledge the presence of Kofi.
But the rule of law, according to the NDC, not the independent of the rule of law, but it's subject to the NDC.
Look at that's
strange.
Look at you. Look at you.
That's strange because it's the NDC.
Joyce, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great. Now, I took notice of that concession of time to Lawyer Digital Maklo by Professor Gyampo.
Prof doesn't have any more time.
Publicly that he has given part of his time to to lawyer digital.
So all of it.
Only two.
He said all of it.
3 minutes. 3 minutes of his time.
No. He said all of it.
No. 3 minutes of his time.
He said all.
You are not an accurate timekeeper.
Let me hear you.
Well, he said all.
Having listened to it,
Prof, you have the courage to assume a responsibility now that you have ceded your right.
No, only 3 minutes.
Please.
having listened to, honestly, having listened to Eduji, and I'm sure Ghanaians are also listening. I don't know whether I have anything
You don't have.
useful,
You don't have. So let's
to add, but just to make the point that
Politics.
earlier, Ahiagba was trying to pin me down to my own study about the factors that determine voter behavior. And then he wanted to cleverly just refer to just one of the variables.
So paper you publish, he's your student. So
Yeah,
you should
just refer to one of the variables, but he's forgotten that I taught him and I still teach him. So you cannot outsmart me in any way, especially using my own study. Just to let me make the point that
but he can do a critique of your study.
No, he can do that.
Yes.
No, but he
Intellectually and also
there
you
are
can
so many
adopt it.
variables that shape voter behavior. Okay, so in the study that you mentioned, yes, I recall that work I did with my senior colleague, Professor Emmanuel Deborah. It was about the youth and party manifestos in Ghana's Fourth Republic. But within that same study, we also alluded to the fact that, look, there are so many other variables that determine voter behavior, including the credibility of candidates, the mood of the nation, sociological factors, ideological factors, party identification models, and so many other variables. And so it is not so right for you to say only promises alone and all that. Promises matter. People you promise when they hear and they want to, based on that, determine their voter preference. I mean, it happens all the time, but it's not promises alone.
Prof, just for purposes of clarifying, you see, that finding you made was critical because hitherto, the literature was suggesting that it is mostly primordial factors that people consider in voting. So what you found is critical.
Okay,
it's
thank you.
groundbreaking that we found that young people in this country vote not based on primordial factors,
give me the rest
but
of my
because
time.
of issues.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, so it's critical. I haven't mischaracterized your findings at all. It's key.
On the discussions that have taken place right now, I listened to Ahiagba and the way and manner he was going on and on. I was wondering whether we should still continue on this tangent of our politicking because it doesn't help. You see, what we are maybe failing to appreciate is the fact that Ghanaians are now very wide awake. And some of these things, if you are seeking to throw dust into their eyes, they see it. And unfortunately, as part of the work that I do, I also talk to people. You know, I'm still teaching, I'm still doing research. And so there are so many work that we are doing behind the scenes, and it means engaging people. And sometimes when you listen to what people are saying, and then you juxtapose it to what our political elites are also saying, then you wonder, are they listening to what the owners of the power they seek to exercise? Are they listening to what their views are? Look, how do you say? We have the history of the of Ghana's Fourth Republic show that at least we've had a regime or a president that has supervised the jailing of his own appointee. We've had it before. President Mahama's time, Abu Gapili was thrown into jail. No, Kufuor.
The process started under NDC,
yes,
but it was not
the
thrown in jail
conviction
then.
happened.
Yeah, but
You just came to continue.
Yes, factually.
But you've not had the courage to put one of your own.
But I'm just saying that.
I think the point he wants to make is that you've not had the courage to put one of your own.
But it's not so accurate.
Just for the record.
No, it's not accurate that you have put your own person in jail. You haven't done it.
Under whose regime was he convicted?
If it started, it doesn't mean it was going to end in that. So please, accurately.
But the prosecution started.
But it doesn't mean he was sentenced under you.
But what did you
He could have been acquitted.
Did you play the conviction?
No, he could have been acquitted.
Did you play the role in the conviction?
I'm saying, but he was convicted
Did you
under
play the role in the
under
conviction?
MPP. That was what
It's good you are
happened.
not answering.
I'm saying that it happened under MPP, not under NDC.
Very well.
So Prof should be fair to the fact.
All right, Richard, I won't mind you, don't worry. So, having brought Sedinam to extradition, I am hoping, in fact, I'm very happy that this has happened because it was an issue that we kept referring to. She's been a fugitive, she's done that. Today, he's been brought back. And once again, our usual partisan politicking, that feels like it is so offensive and so wrong to admit when something right has been done by a regime. You know, played out here this morning, where Anyagba is telling all Ghanaians that the government of the day knew nothing about the extradition of Sedinam. I thought
That's not correct.
I thought that, look, we can do our partisan politicking, but you see, don't do it in a manner that creates an impression that the listening public, they are dumb. Oh, if you do that, I said, don't do it in a manner that creates that impression. Because if you do that, you see, you tend to insult. Oh, you see, when we are talking,
But he's referring to me. Prof, very important. If you don't allow me, we will not move on. No. The point is this. Prof has said,
If you say no,
because he's mischaracterizing everything I've said, and I want to stay on record and say no problem. Hold on 1 second.
I will give you
allow me. No, let me make this intervention. It is critical. So let me pause. Let me make it.
I would allow you to make the intervention.
Yes. Let me make it right here and now.
Hold on. Not because if you do not do so, we will not continue.
Because I won't allow you. Because if I do,
no,
I've never been agitated.
I'm not. But Prof is strategically saying,
I would give you. Hold on.
No problem. Okay, just give it to me. That's all I'm saying.
Wait, I will give you the chance to rebut or respond.
But this non-Richard Anyagba is undermining free speech.
This program, no.
But you see, if you begin to speak and I begin to do the same thing,
you can do it. If I mischaracterize you, you can do it.
What I'm saying is that
mischaracterizing what I have said, and I'm not going to allow you, because when you come back to me, there are other things I want to say. But when he says something factually incorrect, I should be able to correct you.
And I allow when he references you for you to respond.
Okay, so please.
So that is not to say that if it's not done,
so please focus on the issue.
Hold on, gentlemen. Hold on. If a reference is made to what you said,
yes,
which is out of place,
yes,
or mischaracterized,
yes,
I will give you the leverage to respond.
So
that is not to say that if that is not done, we will not continue. No, we will.
Okay,
but then again, you would have the right to respond when he references you regarding a statement you made.
Very well.
Yes.
So
what
quickly.
Exactly did he say?
No, but you are truncating my
No.
Let me finish.
But then stay on message. When you have come here and you have decided to attack the MPP, acting as if you are neutral but you are NDC, we need to get it. The point you have made, when I made the claim, I said that I referred to NDC to say that if he can furnish us any letter from this administration in pursuit of the extradition.
Okay.
But that the claim is that
can be by phone.
Okay.
That is
so why limit it?
But then there is so it is not out of place what I said.
Right.
No, it is not out of place what I said. So when you want to say, please, this intentional attack on MPP trying to make it this way, because you're opposition. Now we have gone past the point where you are neutral. You are now NDC, so be clear about it. Be clear about it. Our politics. You are the one doing the politics. You are the one doing the politics.
Please, can I go on? Okay, all right, thank you. Richard, stop being unnecessarily agitated.
I am not agitated. It is you.
Stop being unnecessarily
I am not agitated.
No, so let me. So he made the point that the ruling government knows nothing about what had gone on. And
I asked for evidence.
Okay, you will proceed.
Okay.
Calm
Yes.
down.
And I'm saying that when you don't live in a jungle, but you live in a state headed by a president that has formed a government and looks at all these things. And indeed, Eduji was telling us that Yoko had to actually go there to facilitate the extradition.
Yeah.
And the government of the day had to even pay for the cost. So if you sit here without even knowing these bits and pieces of information, if you sit here and say the government of the day knew nothing about it.
You see, Alfred,
it creates an
here's
impression
where I have
as
a
if-
problem.
So is he?
He should talk about the issue rather than talking about me. I have made my claim. If you have a contrary fact to what I have said, provide it. You don't have the evidence and you are talking about me. No, Alfred, you need to be clear. I have made a claim. Does he have the fact that the government did ABCD? The point I made was relative to we initiated the process. We said that we initiated the process. If you listen to what please,
hold on.
This thing by Prof, you need to correct
You said that it's not in doubt
this
that
thing
you
by Prof,
initiated.
you see, if you want to be NDC, refer to it because that's what he's doing.
Hold on.
Even Eduji's claim, everything Eduji said, I had come back, which I will come back at. But what you are doing is really just come here and try to bastardize what somebody said. You are on the program to say your views about the matter. But why are you just talking about me and when you don't have the facts? Where is your evidence? Where is your evidence that the NDC did anything? You haven't shown it. Why is the evidence?
Your microphone.
But you haven't brought the evidence. So how do you have it when you haven't brought it?
You're not being
You don't have it.
You're not being
That's what he does all the time. When you come here, you are attacking other people instead of talking about what it is you are here to talk about.
No, okay.
Stay on course.
No, Alfred, let me make the point
No,
again.
you need to correct it.
No,
You
let me
can't be
make the
here be
point
talking
again.
about people.
You see, let me make
and
the
talking
point
about
again.
MPP. You are to answer a question on the floor. You don't have the evidence. And you are claiming as if somebody doesn't have it. I'm going to put the evidence here.
You are not being heard now, Prof.
Unfortunately for him, he doesn't. He knows me, but he pretends he doesn't know me. These things don't do anything to me. I will say what I want to say.
No problem.
And you
I'll
cannot
rebut anytime he says it. I'll come in. I'll come in.
You don't
and
have
I won't let you say it. Alfred, I won't let you say it.
You don't have what it takes to prevent me from talking.
But you won't say it.
While you are doing
say
this,
it.
your time
You can't do it.
is going
I
on.
won't let you.
And I'm going to
So
I won't let you do it. That's the question because you have done it one too many times. You have done it one too many times, and I'm not going to let you do it. Come here and represent yourself. You don't come here and act as if you are more NDC than the NDC person. You're attacking MPP, attacking us, and all of that. But you are not neutral. You're not neutral.
So
Speak your mind on the matter. Speak your mind. You haven't brought any evidence, and you are talking as if.
You know that I'm going to come to you.
Yes,
whatever you're doing.
What Prof is doing is out of line, and you need to correct it.
I'll take it out of you.
Correct it.
All right. So there is no neutrality when one will have to speak the truth, and one will have to choose between what is right and what is wrong. And so the idea of you are not neutral, you are not neutral, does not make sense to me. If you have to choose between what is right and wrong,
Where
you
is
cannot be
neutrality
neutral.
in it?
Now, so let me continue to make the point. And like I've said, I mean, these things, we are used to them, and so they are normal. But I serve notice that when he begins to talk, I'll do the same thing.
No problem.
All
If
right,
I
so,
say anything about you, you can come in. That's all.
Going back to what really I wanted to say, and Alfred, don't be doing your hands like this because I'm now having the opportunity to speak.
No, Prof. I've taken notice of your time.
Okay,
The time
so
you see that
he was heckling me. Please,
So let's
don't
round
also
up.
do same.
Yes.
I look at what has happened to Sedinam, and then also the revelation that even the wrong she is supposed to have committed was paid for by a successor regime. And you have these elements of this same successor regime criminalizing and saying all manner of things. My heart bleeds. I got into office and I saw certain contracts that have been awarded. And I said, this one, if I feed into it by paying, if I don't sit down with those who had gone into the contract and I pay, I'll be doing the service to Mother Ghana, and tomorrow I may be blamed. And so there are some of the contractors I said, no, I'm renegotiating. Others, I say, I'm not paying. If you like, take me to court. Because I did not understand the basis for such awards. And so if you are a government and then you see some of these things that have been done wrong, and then you know they were wrong, and you still go ahead to pay, and today you turn around to come and criminalize the one, or to come and talk as if you played no role in this whole issue, then where are we going as a people and as a nation? And what I also want to add is the fact that it's a caution to all political appointees serving in President Mahama's government today. You see, all these things that are happening, she's been the one who is being dragged alone. If you get the chance and you are privileged to be given the nod to serve, know that should anything go wrong, you see, the president has entrusted into your care some confidence, believing that you will be able to do it. The president does not come to us on daily basis to tell us, do this, follow the rules, follow the... No. He's entrusted into you a certain confidence that you will be able to help him govern the country, you'll be able to help him prosecute his mandate. And so, if you get that privilege, think about tomorrow, not today.
Okay.
You see, think about tomorrow and not today. Look, we get into office and everybody who knows you are appointed come to you. Give me supply, give me contract, give me supply, give everybody. And I keep asking myself, how do we give those supplies? You are inundated on daily basis. Everybody is coming with paper. Can you give me something to do? But how do we give something to do without following the rules? Okay? The whole of the nation. I mean, this one, my co-panelists here, I'm sure they know what I'm talking about. They create an impression as if once somebody is appointed, then he has the power to just look at his friends, his family members, and get this. You go and do this for me. You go and... No, not me runs for Gyampo. Who follow the rules. And I'm telling all my colleague appointees that if you don't follow the rules and you allow pressures from other people, give me supply, give me contract, procurement, what are they doing? I want to do some. If they want to do some, let them come and bid competitively. If they win, you know the rules, the processes will show, the system will show that they won competitively. But if you don't do so, and you just allow these pressures to push you into doing certain things, tomorrow, the government of the day may not be there.
Right.
But it is you who will be held for accountability. And you should be thinking about your wife, your children, your well-wishers, and all that. And so for me, what I take from this is the fact, and it's a warning to all of us who have been appointed today, that as you serve the country, as you are entrusted, as the president has reposed into your hands a certain confidence, please serve in a manner that is mindful of what is likely to happen tomorrow. Because I've always said that I don't want, after serving, you should have done things such that anybody who comes to continue from where you've ended will say that you have done well. Okay. Even if they decide to witch hunt, they will do it such that they will find and find and
they
find.
have to disgrade themselves.
Thank you very much.
Before, you understand? So my point is, you should let us, I mean, all the other processes, whether she has rights, human rights, to assert, whether she's entitled to bail, whether she can go on appeal and all that, I leave that to our justice system and our judicial processes. And I hope that our typically brutish attitude would not stand in the way of people's quests to seek or to protect, ensure that their human rights are upheld. Sometimes it becomes a bit, we claim we are a country of law and we believe in rule of law, and yet when the processes are being followed, sometimes we seem to have problems with the very processes that we tout. And so I want to believe that the justice system, the legal processes would handle everything relating to this woman as she's been brought back. But the key lesson is that appointees of today must always act in a manner that shows that they are also concerned about what is likely to happen to them tomorrow. And so that should embolden them, enable them, advise them to do what is right today. So that tomorrow, when you are not in office, you can sleep in peace.
That clarion call that you make to Oya Point is one that General Agba will not disagree with us, at least.
He will not what?
He will not disagree.
Why
he agrees.
You disagree.
Also,
you disagree.
How you now disagree?
But don't try to you. Don't try to you. Don't try to
I don't disagree. Yes, I also agree with you. In fact, we have all served in public service before, and the experiences that we have post-service should encourage present-day appointees to also behave same. In fact, in my particular case, I served as the acting chief executive of Free Zones Board, and my successor, Kojo, we are talking daily. He calls me, and in fact, on occasion, on occasion, he didn't understand the transaction. He called me, and he said, Andy, but why did you give this land to this company for free? I said, at the time, we were to justify our capacity to populate the enclave for the loan that we were seeking from World Bank. And we didn't have any company there, so I had to bring this company from Cote d'Ivoire
just to show that something is happening.
So that we had to show them, and World Bank came to interview them. So Kojo too understood that, and now the free zone enclave is populated, it's finished. So I told Kojo, instead of leveraging this cost against free zones, just distribute it onto subsequent purchases so that we can offset.
You minimize it.
You see, public service is not bad if you go there with a clear intention to support the system. Again, sometimes I get very sad when every issue is politicized.
Sad.
And we need to have a state where we have statesmen who will bring balance when the partisan politicians are behaving according to their political positions. I don't like it when institutions of state are duly politicized so that they cannot operate by the rules of engagement and that kind of thing. So, and let me come back. And before I do so, when I come here, I want us to consider the topics as given to us and discuss them. But unfortunately, sometimes, my good friends, I'm not sure that any of us have answered the questions you have posed to us for today. We have all stated positions in our mind that we wanted. Indeed, we all try to serve our own questions and answer them. But let me go straight to this point. I think bail should not be a punishment for anybody.
Absolutely.
Absolutely for nobody. And that people are entitled to bail. And I'm not saying it is because of this woman's case. All cases. And that bail should not be excessive. Conditions should not be excessive to deprive them of the bail. And I see nothing wrong whatsoever with the application of the lawyers for bail pending the hearing of the appeal. It happens all the time. It has happened before I was born, and it continues to happen. So,
I like that.
And similarly, to all other applications for bail, and I'll pray that let the judicial service be our sanctuary, so that when you are in trouble, you will go there and you will receive justice. But if you go to the judicial system and you are denied justice, that is the worst expectation for any citizen of the country. So let us all support the building of the institution that will provide us with the cover, the justice that we deserve as citizens of the country. So let the court be courts. Let the courts also go through the appeal. And indeed, what is the profit that we will get as a country if all of us are put in jail, waiting for trial and all that kind of thing? So let us also, I understand that now the judicial system is also setting up to the expectations of the public. In fact, all these commentaries are going to them. Most of them are watching. So they know that if the public is not interested or is not happy with the conditions they put on bail, they will be so advised and so informed. So I like the conversation on bail this morning. And I want to also see that it is not a regime thing. The conditions prevail in all regimes. And let us follow the rules at all times. So it is not anything that is fetish when there is an application for bail pending a hearing of an appeal. So also, there's nothing fetish about an accused person standing before trial and applying for bail. In recent times, bail conditions have been very harsh. All of us are not happy. So let our laws understand that we cannot punish somebody until he has been proven to be guilty of an offense. And let us also respect the decisions as coming from the court. And our judiciary must also understand that people put value to the decisions they make. We talk about the old judges. We have talked about so many. I don't want to mention any name. But the legacy that you leave is that which you sustain your interest and your participation and your presence during the time. If you are seen to be giving obnoxious decisions, trust me, your legacy will be eroded over time. So it is for all of us to understand that we are building a state. And the state is built through institutions. And institutions must grow. And as they grow, they should grow for the better, not grow for the worse. So the public conversation is important for all of us to make sure. But again, in our attempt to promote our parties, we need the parties to survive so that the competition will bring the improvement. But we don't have to kill one another so that we can survive.
What are you talking about exactly?
If MPP kills NDC or NDC kills MPP, it will be a one-party state. It will be our creation. And we are, all of us, both MPP and NDC, we don't like a one-party state. But the way we are attacking each other, I have a feeling that all of us, we want to kill this one also want to kill this one, and create a situation that you don't like. So let's improve together and then create a situation where there will be a balance, so that in the balance, we will enjoy freedom and justice as a nation.
And here's what I bring in, Mr. Bento, because there's a point that Martin Kpebu made regarding this particular case and how that plays out in the coming days. Because you cannot stop people from
in this
thinking,
case,
from thinking a certain way regarding how this case will play out. But that suspicion about her return, her extradition, and whether or not this case would, as Mr. Agba is saying, would go in a certain way that will not even help in the fight against corruption, depends on the judicial system.
Yes. And therefore, we should encourage the judicial system to be up and doing, follow the rules, and bring out decisions that can be sustained. So it is important. But again, Martin said something that he was not happy with the lawyers in the case because the charge sheet was defective. These new lawyers are raising issues with the charge sheet. So let's wait until the charge sheet, the propriety or otherwise, is determined by the court. So you cannot even just stand up and be accusing the previous lawyers in the case. Every lawyer has his strategy in prosecuting, and in fact, every case calls for a strategy commensurate with the expectations in the case. So let us not be judgmental when we haven't finished with the determination of the matters in court.
I see. Thank you.
Mr. Can I come in
quickly,
1 second?
so that I have Mr. Bento have a take on this. Yes, quickly.
Yeah, let's correct Apia Kubi. Honorable, what I said was that I'm mad that Ofori had a hand in this case, and it was never highlighted. Do you see that Ofori paid for the buses about 2 years later?
Did you hear me mention Ofori?
Alone be held. The payer.
I was talking about the lawyers, not Ofori. I haven't mentioned Ofori, please.
No, I'm the one saying, that's the one I'm saying. I'm sad that the lawyers.
That's where he associated the sadness, not what the lawyers
I had a critique of the lawyers. And I'm saying that at the time, if the lawyers didn't even find it, and now they have found it, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, for us to be able to determine whether it was wrongly appreciated or otherwise, let the judicial system give us that.
And it's on that same part that I bring Mr. Benton about the judicial system and how this particular case will play out. Because obviously the suspicions of how this case will play out, you cannot prevent it. But that certainly can be cured by the system, is it not?
Yes. There's a lot going on. And, you know, so a lot of times I am interested in communicating to the public. So see, my brother Martin is making a huge case about, and Ofori paid for the buses, and because of that, hell should break loose. So somebody bought a bottle of water for 10,000 cedis. That bottle of water is ordinarily worth 2 cedis. And that person is not the one to pay, it's a child. Promised 10,000. And when everything was set, the person was demanding the money from the child's parents. And of course, you can imagine, how do you buy water for 10,000? It's because there was a time the child was in public. They have a solution. You have to put water inside to drink. Basically, that boy was going to die. And at the time, he needed water. He should have had it. He didn't have it. Somebody was there and given it, and then in the heat of it, blurted that promise. Okay. Is it binding? Mm-hmm. Is it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
If you inherit a contract, it is binding.
Absolutely.
So that child who recklessly made a promise to somebody that my father can pay you 10,000, give me the water. And the person gave the water and later claimed the 10,000. If the father paid 10,000, is he a fool? If you look at it ordinarily, why do you do that? But if that child had not promised that 10,000 or whatever it is, his life would be at stake. Look, we can argue this ad absurdum. A debt properly incurred is payable, no matter how reasonable or unreasonable it was at the time. Because you don't know some of the issues. Governance is a continuum. Okay? And if you have the time, me and Martin will debate this till we finish. But the point I want to make is this. If a government inherits a debt, and look, we have inherited judgment debts, we have inherited judgment debts, we have inherited all kinds of corrupt debts, we have inherited all kinds of things that don't make sense.
That takes us into issues of
and this is the history. In fact, that is why the World Bank pushed for the law on causing financial loss to the state. Because some people ended up causing losses to the state, which were lawful and had to be paid. So the idea was, well, we will scrutinize the reason why you went there, and when we go after you.
Yes, how does...
When they finish talking, I'll continue.
No, but you see, Alfred, listen, Alfred. No, you see, Alfred.
Your microphones are off.
Okay. Alfred, you know what? Kofi had brought an interesting perspective, and it's good for the public.
Yes, that will be debated when you have a contrary.
So, any payment that is made by any public official, first point, it is not their money. They should account for it. Ken Ofori should come and account for why he made that payment.
Right.
But to every question, there is an answer. If you don't know it, it doesn't mean there's no answer. All right? So this adds to the calls for Ken to come and do the answer. But Martin and Co should not proceed to say, hey, Ken came and saw a debt on the books and then he paid the debt. And because he paid the debt, Sedinam should walk free. That's sophistry. Okay, that is sophistry. That is an absurd interpretation of anything. So, see, let's discard that.
But you see, it comes to the point about, so for instance, if the analogy that you made, whoever inherited that particular questionable kind of debt, does the person also, if you say it's binding, can't the person also raise queries about exactly why?
That's what I'm saying. To every question, there is an answer. Wait, if he finishes talking, I'll talk.
Okay. No.
All right. To every question, there's an answer. The fact that you have a question, your child comes and says, I bought water for 10,000, and you are mad and ask why. So Ken should answer why he did it.
Yes. So
okay, which is why Ken should come and answer. But Martin and Co should not sit here and make the suggestion that you inherit government and you inherit debts and you proceed to pay. And because you paid, the person who made the foolish decision should walk free. She should also come and answer. So the point must be made. Look, as far as I'm concerned, okay, we need to develop a system in this country, okay, where after every government leaves office, there should be a law that says after every government leaves office, all the appointees of that government should be in this country for a minimum of 12 months. And everything they do should be scrutinized. Oral must be permanent. 1 year after every government, every decision should be gone into. Let's build a whole institution to do that work. All right? Now, why am I saying so? I formed Occupy Ghana. We went to court about Auditor General. You know why? Because the systems in place to scrutinize these things as they were going on had been compromised. Nobody was being surcharged. Nobody was, no expense was being disallowed, etc. People were just stealing from the state, left and right. And then when the government goes, everything goes away. And the Auditor General was sitting there. When we got the right person to do the job, MPP came and sacked him. All right? So please, this issue about asking questions and answering it, I think should be institutionalized. But nobody should say, because somebody comes into office and then they make a decision to pay a debt that was previously incurred, means that the person who incurred it previously can walk free. That said, let me proceed.
No,
now, when they finish, I'll continue.
Okay.
I haven't finished at all. I haven't finished at all.
No, yes.
I haven't finished. I haven't finished. Let me finish. They all had a long time to talk. So, see, this is about Sedinam Tamaklo. Okay? Listen, I'm clear in my mind that there was no intention to bring Sedinam Tamaklo back, except for the reason that it was an impediment in their prosecution against Ken Ofori-Atta. Because all of us said that if you have Sedinam Tamaklo, who has been tried, convicted, and has escaped justice, is a fugitive, okay, if you have that person, and you are comparing that person to somebody who has not been charged, not been tried when he could have been tried, you have put out 78 charges, which are weak charges against that person. And you are asking for that person to be extradited. There's no way it will happen. When I said it, people came at me and said I was defending Ken, whatever it is. Everything I said has come to pass. Today, Ken is still outside there. He's not coming here. Some of the things I said were actually in the judgment. That it looks like this thing is political. My point is this. Sedinam was an impediment in continuing the prosecution of Ken Ofori-Atta. And so they had to deal with that. How? Because of what I just said. At one, you have two cases. One person has been tried, has been convicted, has escaped justice, and is in the same US. And you are not talking about it. Another person has been accused, has not been even charged. He doesn't know what he's supposed to answer to. He has not been tried when you could have tried him. He has not been convicted, and a trial can lead to a conviction or an acquittal.
Yeah.
Okay, there is nothing that gives you a reasonable legal basis to ask for another government to bring that person down. When Sedinam is sitting there. So I have made my point and I stick with it. Sedinam was an impediment in the prosecution of Ken Ofori-Atta. Because of that, they had to go back and do the right thing by bringing Sedinam. They have brought her. That's the proper thing. Now proceed and do justice. You see, somebody said here, I forgot who it was, that oral should be both ways. I think it was you. No, I think it's okay. Now, if you are talking about oral as in recovering all loot, and I think you talked about the nollie prosequis and co. Yeah. Seriously, it beats imagination. Okay, that you come and a case is completed. Wait for the judges to just pronounce guilty or not guilty. And you come and just get rid of all of them. Okay? Please.
No. Because
let me
you made a
continue. Let me make
specific,
my point.
In which specific case are we talking about?
I'm actually my mind is actually on the my mind is on the Opuni case.
No, on the Opuni case.
The Opuni case.
I'm saying that the state had closed. No, the state had closed.
The bearer of
Please, don't mislead
the
people.
specific question. Which case exactly are you
Don't
referring
mislead people.
I think it was mentioned.
It's
Somebody
the
here
Opuni case.
mentioned that the Opuni case.
The state had
State
closed.
Agogo was calling his defense witnesses.
So
But
that
I'm
case
saying the
was
state. I said the
people.
state.
No, please.
I said the
But the
state.
state closure, prosecution closure does not bring closure.
But I'm not saying that the state. I was specific.
You are rephrasing.
But I'm saying that no.
did you learn
No.
Mr.
You let Mr.
So
Benton.
the point you made is that the state had closed, which is true.
Whatever you are doing,
When did you
learn all of you? But you don't want to direct the conversation. The state had closed and so therefore, where did you learn that from?
Mr. Benton made a specific statement
About
that there was a particular
pending
case
judgment.
that had been closed. Wait,
But the state had closed. It's factual that the
There's no
state
case
has
like
closed.
that.
was there
The
a
state.
specific case?
The Opuni case.
No,
That's
The
incorrect.
state
no,
had
you are not being
closed its
answered the question.
argument.
Was
No,
there a
that's a
specific
factual
case
position they're trying to say that it's not.
the case had been closed awaiting judgment?
None.
And there was
There's
no
no
The point I'm making is that it was said here this morning that I think in the Opuni case,
Yeah.
the Attorney General, the prosecution had
Closed.
ended or
Yeah.
closed their case.
Yes.
Yes.
All right?
Factual.
They don't have any other job to do.
Yes.
Wait for the
the
defense
judge.
to finish
And then
let the judges
judgment
rule.
come.
So
But that's not what
when
it
you
is.
have a situation where you are interested
that's
as a
it.
statesman, as a public officer in recovering loot, and somebody who occupied public office has been accused of a thing like this, and the case has been made, waiting to hear their defense, where is your compulsion to go and get rid of the whole case? At least just leave it alone, let them get through the process. So for me, I think that, look, when we talk about public office, people must understand it's not their property. Okay, you get in there, you are in a position of trust, and you are actually dealing with poor people's money. Look at Accra
Hold
flooding
on,
today.
let me get. Oh, no, please.
He's giving me some apple.
Let me listen to Mr. Bento.
Well,
And Mr. Bento, round up for me.
Ahagba is
Round up for
seated,
me.
it's not
I didn't
even
invite
good.
you.
He's so
Please
close
go
to
ahead,
Fifi
Mr.
Bento
Bento.
and giving him
All right.
unnecessary,
Apple.
unnecessary
No,
support.
gentlemen.
My thoughts are all over the place.
It's caused by Richard.
So
You are
see,
projecting yourself onto me. That's what you were doing.
public officials must answer. People who hold state office must hold those offices as offices of trust. Attorney General, okay, and must do their jobs at least above board. Look at least as if it is, being done fairly and honestly. I worry about the judiciary. I worry because in both governments, there are times when it looks as if the judiciary is not independent.
Okay.
The things that, or the political system we are working requires a separation of powers. 3 branches of government which check on each other. The judiciary, and those who have read Marbury and Madison, that is extremely important. It tells you that the judiciary is really the senior of the others, because they can tell you strike down your law or strike down your action if you are the executive. Okay, but where you have a situation where in the past they call them unanimous 7 or something like that, and now in this government I am making this point of fact. It looks as if that the politicians make promises and then the judiciary delivers it. Look at CJ. Let me finish. Look at CJ Tokono. Politicians make a promise. Politicians say things. They make it clear. When we get into office, we are coming after you. They get into office and a number of things happen, and the kinds of things that they were alluding to happen. Then you look at GN Bank. President Mahama talks at length. Conclusion, all of it is that when we come back, we are going to give back some of these licenses. GM Bank is seen around going back and forth and whatever. By the way, I have no personal problem against them. Okay, I just believe that they had a bad strategy, but that's another matter. Now, he makes those political promises, which may be founded or otherwise. My worry is that then the judiciary tends to, or looks like they are delivering those promises. When a judge gives a judgment, the judgment can be criticized. Actually, it must be criticized. It is advisable that we all look at those things and we speak to them. That GN Bank ruling is no. Let me finish.
It's because that's a whole topic on this.
I'm making the point. The point I am making is that you have situations where a politician makes a promise, and when they make the promise, it looks as if the judiciary delivers the promise. And I'm using GM Bank as an example. That we had the president and co make the promise or restore licenses. The matter goes to court, and then there's a judgment which I can't understand. But it ends up delivering that promise. I am saying all these things because of the suspicions being raised around Sedinam. Okay? People believe she will not see a day in jail and whatever it is. Look, we need to do things that improve or strengthen the confidence in institutions of state. The more of these that happen, the more people believe that our judiciary forgets. The more people believe that our security services forget. We've just had a ruling from the Supreme Court that says that basically the Ghana police or the IGP is essentially a political office. Okay, and that the president can take them in and bring them out anytime. We are moving in a situation where everything becomes part of the political cycle. We will crack this democracy if we continue to do that. And things like Sedinam, things like Ken, and whatever it is, won't happen if we really truly believe in our justice system.
Thank you very much. And and I'm running up on this, so just
So myself and Richard Anyagba, I mean, just so we...
no, just the both of you.
Yes, so just so we put matters in proper perspective. Look, we've had nolle prosequi used in our courts. I recall vividly the trial of Gregory Afoko. Case had completed by Justice Ellen Mensah. Just awaiting judgment. The Republic decided to file a nolle prosequi. That is the only instance that I've seen a criminal trial concluded, awaiting judgment, and the Republic filing a nolle prosequi.
And it's wrong. Right to so
Look, I didn't say it is wrong. If you are
that's
thinking,
my point.
And I'm saying that this happened under a president who is noted for the rule of law and the respect for human rights. It was justified, even when it was contested at the Supreme Court. You see, this morning, I've listened to my senior, Kofi Benton. And if you look at the arguments that were postured, it is as though the contract entered into by SEDI, Ken just came and paid. No, please. For the avoidance of doubt, look, I beg you, I just want to read the records of proceeding, which is founded at volume 3 of the record. This is what transpired. You also knew from your records that the contract for the acquisition of the vehicles had been signed by your predecessor, but not a single CD had been paid by Maslock. Is that correct? Answer, yes, my lord. This sticker under cross-examination. Answer, yes, my lord. So when the question was put to him, whether or not a single CD was paid for the 350 buses, his answer was, yes, my lord, nothing was paid. Further question.
Nothing had been paid.
Nothing had been paid then.
Had been paid then. Further question. Your CEO had testified in this court that they renegotiated the entire contract price. Is that the case? Unfortunately, I cannot speak of my CEO's testimony. Now, question. I am asking you personally. Maslock says that the contract price was renegotiated. Is that the case? Answer. From what the person gave me, yes. So first of all, the contract was renegotiated.
By who?
So what's the point?
You renegotiated the contract.
No, the contract
and
was
so
renegotiated by
your
who?
accusation by the NPP.
So, how could it be?
I mean, oh, sorry. I mean, the government then, sorry. I mean, I've corrected myself. So my point is that it is not like the father just came and paid what the son entered into, by your analogy. No. The father, being a responsible one, said, parties come. Let's renegotiate. Prices were knocked down, among other things. Based on the renegotiated thing, you paid for it. Meanwhile, your accusation against the person was that he contracted for and inflated the price.
So the
Pure
issue
contract.
of the inflated price was
Pure contract.
the basis for the renegotiation.
Yes. And now you negotiated and
so my
paid. And
point is,
listen, oh,
does
Sina,
that
Sina,
transfer-
Sina,
No, I'm
please.
talking to
No,
Abel.
Sina, yeah, you can.
Go ahead.
Okay.
It took you 2 years. 2018, that was when you renegotiated and paid for it. Meanwhile, you convicted her on these accusations.
So you want me to clarify?
And so
Okay.
the point let me just conclude. I
No,
beg.
conclude, because it's just...
I'm concluding. So let nobody create the impression. And look, they've given all MPP communicators a communication line. Oh, just say that she inflated the price of this and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, go to the record of proceeding, the cross-examination. It exposes the issues. In fact, the warrant for payment was signed by Mr. Ken Ofori 2 years after she had left office. That's also not enough. But that's renegotiated. But you see, let me just make this.
It is the criminal mind that was
This morning, my senior Kofi, oh please, I beg you.
You were worried.
I'm not talking to
On this point,
But leave that to the court.
The question
now
is
we are in court, so leave
whether
that
or
to
not
the court.
this particular development actually nullifies the decision that was taken
Yes, leave that.
previously.
No, but that's a different matter. But
Okay.
I'm making the point. Let me also say this. You see, my senior says government promises and the judiciary delivers.
I mean, that is so
Very serious.
You see, that is please. You see, that is the communication strategy adopted by the MPP.
Hey, what's that?
And the reason why they have adopted that strategy is a very simple one. You see, he made mention, we won't call communicators meeting.
You come.
You come to our meetings.
No, I've been seeing the speaking notes. I've been seeing the speaking notes.
I've been waiting for the communicator.
So let me proceed.
You know, the director of communication is here. I don't think you know what we're talking about.
You know,
Don't admit it this time.
I'm running up. You see, when you make such a statement, very sweeping, that the government had promised and the judiciary delivered.
I give you 2 examples.
And you liken it to the Tokonu action first. They now proceeded to GN Bank. Senior, with respect, that's going beyond the rules. That's going beyond the acceptable standard.
No, you're wrong.
And I'll explain why. Who in the NDC promised a removal of any Chief Justice? Nobody. Nobody knew that this is how a person will conduct himself, which will form the basis of an impeachment proceeding.
contrary to a promise to remove a YC.
YC.
Well, it's
But you know,
strategic.
that's another issue.
It's
But
strategic.
So that point ought to be made clear. Nobody promised the removal.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it so happened that it has to happen. And I do know that the person of President Mahama is not a vindictive leader. And he's known that he's never been vindictive. GM Bank. Look, the Bank of Ghana took a decision. Are we by any stretch of any form of legal argument saying that a decision of the Bank of Ghana is sacrosanct? Are we saying that the decision by the Bank of Ghana is not judicially reviewable? Look, I would urge anybody, let's all have the benefit of reading the concurring judgment of my Lord Justice Achibonga.
In which case specifically?
In the GM Bank case, he makes a very compelling argument in upholding the submission of GM Bank. This is what he referenced. He says that you, government of Ghana, you owe GM Bank X amount of money. That is an asset to GM Bank.
I need to come in.
But it undermines in terms of its liability. No, I'm just saying so that it
It's a
doesn't
matter
look.
that we are not. It's not before
No, but
us.
because he said, oh, but you see,
No, but he's
very
referenced
clear.
not in the detail
I
that
was-
he's saying. But
I
he's
was
supposed to
very- I was-
conclude
I was-
on the
I-
Sedinam
I-
matter.
Yes,
So,
okay.
you are
Okay,
supposed to
then let me
conclude.
let me
No, but
Since when did you become a moderator?
You know, hold on. When Mr. Bento referenced this GN Bank case,
Yeah.
I clearly indicated it's actually a case on its own we can get into.
Yes.
Because,
But are we
hold on,
getting into
because
it
to
now?
say that, hold on. Because to make that particular point
is agitating?
in concluding that
It's your
it is the judiciary carrying
Yeah,
out
so-
a particular
so,
statement.
everything
that the president
I'll
has
is
made.
seen
I'll
to the
conclude.
fact.
Hold on.
I'll
You're not
conclude.
letting me
Let me
explain.
No, I'm sure my
So I made
senior.
the point.
I'm sure my
don't go
senior.
into
I made the point and left it because
Don't
you're
go
not letting me
into-
explain.
Exactly.
He
I can
didn't go into
explain.
the matter. So just leave
I
it.
can
So
explain. What he's saying is what I wanted to say differently.
Okay.
But
So if
you
you like,
see,
let me
but
make
you
my
see,
point.
Alfred, let me
Can we allow him to make his point?
Now, let me make
Alfred, let me
Why
conclude.
did
He didn't make his point.
Can I
He
just
just
make
made
my
it
point?
Conclude. I beg
Let me
you.
finish my
Alfred,
point.
just 2 minutes.
No, 1 minute.
I wasn't that.
No.
Let me conclude on this critical issue of the GM Bank, because you see,
No. You see, so because you have already established that point and made it.
Senior,
Senior,
let me just read a portion and let's let your viewers.
I made the point. Let me explain myself then. Because he's taking my point off. Let me talk.
But you
Let
see,
me make my point.
He created
Finish.
a
you want us to discuss
mischievous
a case,
punchline.
Let that be known.
But your government
Let me explain what I'm saying.
But that's his
Now
view.
let me see.
That is his
And-
view.
And you see, that is why I'm saying that. You see, he is my senior at the bar. The received learning,
that point.
our received learning, is to put matters in proper perspective,
So let me
law
do
and
that.
fact. So let me say this, and I'll just reference my Lord Justice Achibonga, and allow
When he
fair-minded
finishes, I'll
people,
say.
and see whether this is a judiciary delivering or this is sound reasoning. This is what, in our view, it will not be fair to declare an entity insolvent just because its operating cash flow cannot meet its debt when they fall due, even though it has assets, including realizable assets that far exceeded its liabilities. If allowed to realize these assets could help it pay its due debt and continue to operate as a growing concern. So even though sections 1, 2, 3, 4 appears to give the regulator an option as to the two tests stated above, the regulator, to be fair, should apply both tests in determining whether a bank or a deposit-taking institution is insolvent. This position finds support in so and so. Now, this is what it concludes. From the above analysis, it is our respective view that there is evidence on record to establish that government and its MDAs owed Gold Coast advisors huge sums of money, part of which was assigned to the third respondent, GN Savings and Loans. Therefore, forming part of its debt owed to it by government and its MDA. Government debt, in our view, are the safest or one of the safest to have on a company's book. Being a government debt, the same is easily realizable as compared to debt owed to individuals, and same should be relevant and taken into account by a regulator. Now, this is where he concludes, and I'll end here. It will be absurd, irrational, and unjust for the government and its MDAs to owe a bank or a specialized deposit-taking institution to the extent that it affects its liquidity and working capital ratio of that same. And the same regulator, based on that, proceeds to declare such a savings agency insolvent.
Thank you.
How is this done? Sound reasoning.
Let me do that, please. Please. Let me clarify. So here's the point. I stand by my point. Now, the definition of insolvency is a financial state where an individual or company can no longer pay their debts as they come.
Is it charged GTP?
Please. Just check whether as they come due. Okay, he's waded into the area of law and finance. Now, when we talk about insolvency, it is not about the assets you have. It's about liquidity. All right. When we say your debts as they come due, you can have $1 billion in assets. Okay. Now, note that Bank of Ghana is independent and not the government of Ghana. So here you have the GN Bank, you have Bank of Ghana, and you have government of Ghana. It's like you, me, and him. You and I. Hold on. Give me time. Right. You borrow money from me and say, I will pay you in 3 months. If I don't pay you, take my shirt. 3 months come, you don't pay me. And you tell me, oh, Ayaba owes me money, so I'll pay you. 6 months come, you don't pay me. You say, Ayaba has not paid me. If he pays me, I'll pay you. 1 year comes, then I take your shirt. Because that's the agreement between us. Then you go to court, and then the judge says that, no, I shouldn't take your shirt because Ayaba owes you. That is sophistry. Sophistry is when you try to make something look like what it is not on certain things. Now, let's be clear. It was not the place of the judge to decide that because somebody owes somebody, and I'm criticizing the judgment, because somebody owes somebody, the Bank of Ghana should not do its job. No, and we can go into it ad absurdum. But my point is clear. My point is that judgment was present.
There's a fact on record.
What he read is actually the point which I am making, that it does not fall to the judge to say. Because in all finance, it's not about assets, it's about liquidity, especially in banking.
Please, and
but you have indicated this matter is not going to end anytime soon.
It's not necessarily.
Why would
go and check with finance people.
This matter is not going to end anytime soon.
Go and check with finance people.
Yes. So, you see, so thank you. You see, I make the point.
Be mindful that I'm also here.
Yes. Alfred. It is a fact.
There was a response and a rebuttal to specific issues that Digital Macro raised. So and that's why I'm giving the time. We'll move on to the next issue.
So I go back to this fact, and I say that the ballot box is an instrument of hope. You make promises to people, people hold on to that promise, they vote for you, you come to power. when you are not delivering and we are telling you, you are looking different sideways, backways, and you are telling us that this has happened here, this has happened here. The point, that's exactly, just allow me. You did that before. What I'm talking, just allow me. And you allow energy to flow. Okay? Energy can intervene, but you just let me flow. Because earlier when I was establishing this pattern of behavior by this government, shielding its people and persecuting its political opponents, energy came and he didn't answer that question. He didn't dispute it. His only argument against it is that, oh, MPP will prosecute people, but the laws are there when people go wrong, you apply the law. So if MPP apply the law, we have not done anything wrong. Now, he has not been able to show any reason why President Kufuor, under him, not one single MPP person was prosecuted. But that was his point, that under Kufuor, that we didn't prosecute any of our persons. And the question I ask is that, after Kufuor was 8 years of NDC, did NDC prosecute anybody they thought that Kufuor's administration should have prosecuted? That we didn't do. They had 8 years after that. Did they? If there was the evidence. You understand? So the point is that apply the law fairly. Now what you are doing is that you are not going to. And this is that justification for why they are clearing their people. His justification is that under Kufuor, nobody prosecuted an MPP person. But after him, you had 8 years. You didn't get anybody to be prosecuted because nobody committed any wrong, according to you and according to the law. Wow. Now you are establishing to us that, so because of that, under you, when you have promised, chapter 6 of your manifesto, you said that you will do oral. The first order of business is to do oral. And oral, you didn't define it to limit it to some people. It's oral in pursuit of state interests or state assets. Any loot, whether be NDC or whoever, you want to recover it. But then now you are directing that to other people. Only. And then you are clearing your people. This is a serious matter because you haven't been able to answer it. Okay? So the point is that when the case of Sedinam has come up, and it's painful that we're talking about it, but you see, it's a question of responsibility. This is what you promised. This is what you must deliver. This new argument that lawyer Kpebu is making about Ofori pay the money, I'm lost. So does that mean that the intent, the conspiracy, the idea to commit that crime didn't exist?
Which crime?
I'm saying that the person has been convicted. The person has been convicted. So it's a crime. But you see, the person has been convicted. It's a crime. So what is it? Is it an allegation?
No, hold on.
Where are you coming from with this pay?
Has been established. A crime has been established.
So
a crime has been established.
But you see, it's an obligation on you to pay. Somebody has done the transaction. Of course, what about all? Yes, well, all these PPP things that we inherited.
Why did you renegotiate?
All these.
That's where. No, hold on.
Stop being surprised.
Don't do that.
Stop being surprised.
You see, that point established about the wrong that was detected.
Yes.
A new government comes in and renegotiate.
It's an afterthought matter. Don't engage this matter as to water down the conversation. Let's stay on point. Let's stay on point. An individual has been tried and convicted on a matter. Before us is the conviction and the counts on which she was convicted. Okay, no. And that matter is one of it. Anyway, but you see, I just want to make the point that on that matter, there's a new line of reasoning they are bringing. It is only to pave way for what I've told you would happen, which is that they will end up giving her bail. And I'm shocked that when Martin Kpebu said that he's going to keep open mind on Sedinam getting bail, I was shocked that he didn't say anything. Because here, we are not talking about any ordinary bail. We are talking about bailing somebody who has run away, who is a fugitive, and who did not come back voluntarily.
Be careful of your words. Be careful of your words. Tomorrow, if Mr. Ken Ofori comes to this country,
yeah,
he is entitled as a citizen of this country
to
apply for bail, and the court can look at it and say,
wait, let me come.
But
you are wrong. I'm not sure what you're saying.
He's not entitled to a bail.
What
He's not entitled to a bail.
Has he been convicted?
He's not entitled to
Has he been convicted?
He's not entitled to a bail.
No, has he been charged?
No, bail are in two forms.
Gentlemen,
Pending trial and pending appeal.
No, so it's not the same as
I'm talking about.
Post-conviction.
No, it's allowed.
Wait.
I'm saying
you are mixing things. You are mixing things.
So here's the point.
Ken is not the same as Sedinam.
What is the issue?
I'm coming to the point.
It's not the same.
Right.
Who said it?
Has Ken been tried?
Hold on.
Is it
I'm
not
coming
supposed
to
to
the
be
point.
tried?
The microphones are
Supposed to
listening
be.
to you.
Okay, so you see,
That's not the point.
Gentlemen, hold on. Let's maintain.
No, you said that. You said the rule.
That should be on record.
you see,
I said it's not the same thing.
Yes, the whole,
Okay, I'm just trying to. I'll follow you.
Okay, no,
They are disrupting the thing.
the whole government.
Let me hold on.
Exactly, by law.
I am surprised.
Edoji, Prof, please. Now, the element of bail, if in an event where she's granted bail, is that wrong in a sense? And then also,
in her particular case, hold on.
case of Ken
I hear your
Ofori, if he is
question.
granted
I'm
bail,
saying that,
is it going to be
well,
wrong?
I'm not. Ken and Sedinam are not on the same kill. They're two different separate matters.
you have
the
to-
NDC,
you have to
the
separate
NDC, hold
them
on.
for convenience.
Of course,
Hold on.
no.
For convenience.
But you are a lawyer.
Keep quiet.
You are a lawyer. When you put Sedinam,
I asked a question. I asked a question.
yes.
Hold on.
So he's a lawyer.
What did you do?
If you put Sedinam on the left and Ken on the right, and you are trying to connect them, there is nothing that connects them. Ken has not been charged. He's not been convicted.
He had been charged.
He's been charged.
He's not been convicted.
Right.
Okay,
of any.
So we
any
draw that
offense.
statement that he had not been
But
charged.
is that the same? Is that the same? So here's the point. They are not the same
Yeah, not the same.
at all. Now, the specific question of whether,
But they cannot be.
you said 5 minutes, I've just used 1 minute. So the specific question,
I think we should move
of
to
whether,
the Wontumi matter.
But you have gone to talk about
We should
GNA
move-
and you don't want to finish this
move
one.
to the Wontumi
Alfred,
matter.
the question about whether Sedinam should get bail or not, in her specific case, I say that
Can we move on to the Wontumi
it will
matter?
make mockery.
Richard Anyagba
I'm
is now
coming.
doing
It
a
will make
filibuster.
mockery of our judicial system if this government orchestrates, which is what they are trying to do, orchestrate and give her bail. One, because this is a person who was given
This
bail.
is completely
Please.
unfortunate.
I-
There's no
Oh,
orchestration. The rule
but
of
that
law.
is, I have
the rule
shown
of
you
law-
a pattern
the rule of
where
law-
you cannot give
No, but the
bail.
rule of law is
Where
working.
you cannot give
What's
bail,
that?
you
Control your
you
brother.
file